Okay, so this episode we got Whitman women's volleyball alum Jillian Davis. Jillian graduated in 2014, is that correct?
Yeah, 2014.
So little stats for her. She four-year letter winner, 2010 to 2013. Four-time all-conference selection. First team 3 of those years.
Yeah.
An all-region selection and an All-American selection in your freshman year. Is that correct?
If honorable mention All-American counts.
Yeah. When I first got here, I kind of made a blanket decision. Yes, that will count.
Love it. Okay.
So how are you doing today?
Good. Just working on some schoolwork. So.
Yeah, and I know you're in Hawaii right now, so it's a little earlier in the day. Was it like 2 o'clock? Is that correct?
We're about 2 o'clock here. So.
Very good. So yeah, so as I mentioned, you're living in Hawaii. Yeah, I was born and raised in Hawaii. Went to Iolani School. Actually lived there for 10 years in my adult life, if you want to call it that. So I'll just ask, how are you liking Hawaii and just living there? You've been there about 1.5 years, is that correct?
About 1.5 years. We got here January of 2019. We're in 2020. Whew, been a long one. But so far, we absolutely love it. I mean, I never thought that I'd be living in Hawaii on an island where I can see beach whichever way I go.
Yeah, you're right in the middle of the island, so you can
right in the middle of
elevate a little bit.
Yeah. We've got our favorite locations, though, definitely depending on like what we've got going on that day. Kailua is one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. And then North Shore, just because it's the closest probably for us. We do the North Shore quite a bit. So we're loving it.
North Shore is about like
25 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How often do you get out there?
Well, before the beaches were shut down again, we were going every week, every Thursday. My boyfriend is stationed at Schofield, so we would just meet each other up at the beach, do dinner on the beach, watch the sunset. So
that's fantastic. I know when I lived in town, and I'm going to say town is Honolulu for those who are not really familiar with. When I lived in town, you didn't go to the North Shore. It was like a day trip, but
yeah,
for you, you can catch dinner there. That's great.
We've met quite a few people who either live in Eva Beach or Kailua, and they're like, yeah, we just don't leave our little area.
Right.
I'm like, oh man. We go everywhere. We go west side, east side. We are big explorers of the island.
What are your favorite places to eat? Either in Mililani or in town or North Shore even?
So we're big fans of Korean barbecue. There's a place called Sura, and it's in town, Honolulu, and it's essentially cook your own, get the meat sweats. It's great. But I work for a company called Monkey Pod Kitchen, and their sister restaurant, Moku, and they also are affiliated just a little bit with Duke's right on the beach in town. And I think Duke's was our go-to date night celebration because of that food pie. Can't beat it. We were big proponents on parking at the, the Pink Hotel.
Royal Hawaiian.
Yes, Royal Hawaiian.
Yeah.
So we could beach it up and then go to dinner. So
nice.
I haven't been able to do that lately, though.
I know. I was going to get in that a little later on, but I might as well mention it now. It's been a challenge there, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's been a spike recently. Situation has changed. How have you guys been handling that? Well, let me first mention something. You're getting your online master's degree from Cal Baptist. So I know when we emailed off the air, you had mentioned that was kind of on hold a little bit. So kind of mix that in on some of that program and some of the challenges you're having with that.
Yeah. Well, when COVID started, everything shut down here around mid-March, kind of pretty much the same everywhere. So job stopped, everything like that. My boyfriend was working from home, so it was a completely different kind of way of life day to day. You know, you can't really see people, you're not socializing. And I didn't actually start my master's until a couple months into quarantine, into the pandemic. It was like, well, I can't just sit here and watch Netflix all day. But so a little online research, and Cal Baptist, it already does online classes. So I think they were set up pretty well. I know that they do have in-person classes through their undergraduate degree programs, so I'm sure that's affected things. But as for me, it hasn't really changed much. So we're now just getting in the swing of things. I start like the major master's classes at the end of this month.
And you're studying kinesiology, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
What are you hoping to do with that degree?
Well, I'm hoping to just, I've been out of college since 2014. So my studying brain has kind of been on the back burner a little bit. So I'm hoping that, you know, showing that I can do the whole master's program. It's an accelerated year master's class, so August to August. And the goal is to help this, help me get into physical therapy school, graduate school, doctorate. So
okay.
I'm hoping this kind of shows I'm ready for that next step of grad school learning.
And hopefully by that time we'll be ready for some in-person learning. And so I want to switch gears, go a little bit into volleyball. I'll read some more stats here. And you're third all-time in kills, sixth all-time in digs. So really Whitman volleyball royalty we have here on the program. So just turning back the clock to those days, you know, I pulled up an article from the Whitman Wire that you wrote. Actually, it was at the end of your career. There was a publication. Yeah, you had the byline. It was your article. So it was very cool to talk not just about volleyball, but just your overall experience. So those of you watching this, if you haven't seen it, just Google it, go to Whitman Wire, and you can find it there. It wasn't that hard. It was a very nice article.
Thank you.
But yeah, you were such a huge part of the program. 4 years, major impact. What are some of the moments, I'm sure there are many, that just kind of stand out to you when you think about your career there?
Oh, I think my experience with the volleyball team, especially at Whitman, is super special. So when I came in as a freshman, it was only freshmen and sophomores. There were no upperclassmen. Wow. And for those of you who don't really know about Whitman, as a freshman and a sophomore, you live on campus. So those are the people you're eating with, you're practicing with, you're studying with. So I think we just built a really strong base outside of the volleyball court. And then it kind of transferred into playing with each other. And I think that's one of the more special memories, is just the bonds that I have with my teammates. I mean, it's kind of hard not to when you go to a small liberal arts school, kind of in the middle of nowhere, at least when I was a freshman. Now it's definitely all over the map, Walla Walla. But some of my favorite memories, I wouldn't even be able to pinpoint which year that it happened, but beating UPS in 3, I just remember my rival the whole time. Her name was Jackie Harvey. I will always remember that. And just being able to beat her was great.
You don't remember the year, but you remember the names.
Oh yeah, I remember her name. It was always like, oh, you're gonna beat Jackie Harvey in stats this week? Yes, I am. She was definitely one of those rivals that made me better. What else?
And you mentioned games. What about academically and just in Whitman in general? What are your takeaways from just your 4 years at the school?
So definitely coming in as a freshman, it's like college is a whole new world. From my high school, large public school, to a private liberal arts institution, training my brain to the academic rigors was definitely a little bit harder for me, at least. But overall, I loved my time in Whitman, and the professors that I had, especially as a biology major, all the professors there are really great people. And I still
El Paso, correct? Was that?
Yeah. Jake, come here. Sorry.
No.
Our backyard is not enclosed, so the dog likes to think that he can go in the front yard.
Free reign.
Yeah. But El Paso.
El Paso, was there a, I don't know the difference too much from that area of the country to the Pacific Northwest. Was there a culture shock a little bit? Was it a change?
Well, growing up in El Paso, high desert, the only thing that we really ever had was sandstorms, maybe an occasional snow day. We did get those, and people were very surprised to hear that about West Texas. But growing up, we visited Washington, like the Pacific Northwest, and I was like, oh, I want to go to school here. Like, look at all the trees. Look how green it is. Well, you show up in Walla Walla, and there's really not that many trees, but there's lots of rolling hills. I loved it. And we got all 4 seasons in Walla Walla.
Yes.
I think it's a totally different experience if I were to go to, school in Seattle. But Walla Walla is perfect location.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. This is great. Really appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed hearing what you got going on in your life right now. So keep enjoying Hawaii. Best of luck at your schooling, and best of luck going forward. All right, take care. Okay.
Thanks so much.